Hi, I'm Dr. Johnna Bolyard. I'm an Associate Professor of Mathematics Education in the College of Education and Human Services at WVU. COVID-19 has changed so many things about our lives, least of all our students' educational experiences. And as a result, many parents and caregivers are finding themselves in positions where they are wondering, how can I best support my young learners of mathematics? So I'm going to talk about a few ideas that you could do to help unleash your learner's mathematical power. And first and foremost, I'm going to say just talk about math. I know that sounds a bit simplistic, perhaps, or strange, but research does show that when students are talking about their mathematical thinking, whether it's complete, whether they're still formulating ideas, when they're able to share that and communicate that it actually does support their deep learning and understanding of mathematics. So what do we mean by math talk? Simply asking students, well, how did you come up with that answer? What makes sense about that? What do you think about that? I wonder if there's another way we could think about it. So helping them to analyze problems, helping them to formulate solutions, helping them to think about what an answer that makes sense would look like can support them making sense of mathematics. So it could be something as simple as if you have a bag of marbles perhaps and say, I wonder how many are in here. How do you know? How would you estimate that? What makes sense? And one of the big ideas that we want to be thinking about is it doesn't even matter necessarily to come up with the exact correct answer every single time. Some of these are more open-ended, where students are thinking about ideas and thinking about connections and thinking about what makes sense. And that is just as important to your students' brains as they're sort of formulating these ideas as it is to arrive at one specific answer. Now, there are several websites that if you want to maybe look for some prompts that you could use with your learners, there are several that can help kind of come up with these ideas and these open-ended questions. One is called Math Before Bed. And here what it does is it just asks some different questions. You could go with number sense, you can go with shapes, but ask different questions, and they're open-ended and they're intended to be so that they generate conversation. Another one I like is Which One Doesn't Belong? And in this website, it just shows a series of 4 items. It could be 4 numbers, it could be 4 graphs, it could be 4 shapes, and it just poses the simple question, which one doesn't belong and why? So that why part is very important. For example, if students are looking at 4 numbers, which number doesn't belong? Why do you think so? So what we're trying to get students to notice is different properties and characteristics of numbers and thinking about which ones might have something in common and which number might have a characteristic that the others don't share. What's interesting about that is once they've selected one, ask them about another one. What about this one? Why might that one not belong? So again, we're pushing a little bit further in thinking about those characteristics. Now, the ideas of asking students, what do you think? Why is that happening? How does that make sense? Is there another way to think about it? Are things that you can build into any content areas, any grade level. There might be times though where your student is coming home or has been given an assignment and you think, oh, I don't really remember how to do that, or I haven't done that for so long. I do think Khan Academy is a wonderful resource for that information. A lot of times their explanations are conceptual. They do talk about the why and think about representations students can use to make sense. But I would encourage you to not just watch it and then go and talk and present that information to your student. Rather, sit down with your student together, watch the video, talk about why this is. Why is that happening? How does that make sense? What do you think about that? So in that case, both of you are learning together and you can model for your student how to really question and think deeply about information as they learn it. I hope some of these ideas are helpful to you, and I'm just wishing everybody to have a wonderful school year, and please stay safe. Thank you.